Tuesday, September 26, 2023, and that this regular hybrid meeting is being held via webinar and in person. Both adequate and electronic notice of this meeting were provided according to law by written notice to the Morristown Daily Record, the official newspaper of the town of Morristown, and to the Newark Star Ledger, both more than 48 hours ago. Notice was also posted in Town Hall and on the town website and filed with the office of the town clerk of the town of Morristown. I do further state that I shall enter into the minutes of this meeting a statement that such notice was furnished as particularly described by me in this public announcement. If you could give me a moment.
One of our phones.
Okay, I'll take a roll call. Councilman Armington.
Here.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Here.
Councilman Foster is excused this evening. Councilman Iannacone should be joining us shortly. Councilman Silva.
Present.
Councilman Umbriak.
Here.
Council President Mayer.
Here.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. We could go into a moment of silence, please. Remember those we've lost. Thank you. If everybody would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if I could just confirm. Wow, Councilman Iannacone, I was just making sure that you were with us. Thank you.
Consent agenda.
Okay. Before we get started, please be aware that public comment during the public hearing portions of this meeting will be held both in person and through the Zoom app. At the appropriate time, members of the public wishing to speak should indicate so by raising his or her hand in chambers or in the app. To comment via Zoom, click on the raise your hand icon at the bottom left side of your screen. You may also raise your hand by pressing *9 on your phone. When it is your turn, the moderator will send a signal through the app and ask that you unmute yourself so that you may be heard. To unmute yourself on the phone, press *6. I also would like to announce that old business number 1, discussion of the new county courthouse, has been pulled for discussion at the October 10th meeting. There are 3 items on the consent agenda. Councilwoman Cotton, since you were excused for items numbers 1 and 2, we'll do those together.
Okay.
First, so on the adoption of consent agenda, unless members of council have comments, sorry. On the adoption of consent agenda items number 1 and 2, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Abstain.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbriak.
Yes.
Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Thank you. Consent agenda item number 3, approval of fee waiver, Morristown Partnership Film application. Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbriak.
Yes.
Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Motion carries. At this time, I will open the floor for a public hearing on any matter. For remote members of the public, please raise your hand in the Zoom app to indicate that you would like to speak. If you have joined the meeting via telephone, press *9. Kindly state your name and address and limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. Be advised that any derogatory comments targeting members of council and/or administration may be ruled out of order.
Thank you. Just so everybody understands the process, we call everybody up. Anybody who wants to speak can raise their hand. You'll be asked to come up. You state your name and address. Once everybody has spoken in chambers and on Zoom, we close public comments, and then council will answer. So please stick around if you want to listen to our responses. So with that, I will open up public hearing, and we'll start this way, and we'll go around the room. Please come up, and you might need to move the microphone down. This microphone right here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, you can push it down.
Hello, everybody. Is this
There you go.
is this good? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Gabriel. I live at 320 South Street in Morristown. I live in a co-op called Parsons Village, and I'm the president of the board of that co-op. We have 198 units. It's on a beautiful piece of property. It's filled with trees and grass. We're organic. We really care for the environment. Several people have informed me that Morristown Hospital is planning a major expansion. I've heard it will include an 11-story building, a 6-story garage, as well as enlarging many buildings on Madison Avenue that the hospital has already bought. I've also learned that there have been meetings between the hospital and town officials about this. If this is what's being planned, it will have a huge impact on the character of Morristown and on the neighborhood. Parts of my co-op are incredibly close to the buildings on Madison Avenue, the buildings that we believe were bought by the hospital. There's going to be issues regarding traffic, noise, road deterioration, blocking of sunlight, water drainage. These all need to be considered and evaluated. Parsons Village has not been informed of any of this. And worse, a representative has been excluded from these meetings. So we really don't know what's happening. I have 4 questions that I'd like answered, please. And you don't have to remember them because I brought you copies of the questions. 1, what exactly is being proposed? Is it a redevelopment or rezoning? Exactly what would the hospital like to do? We live right next door. We really would like to know. Number 2, have there been any studies regarding any of these issues? Shadow studies, meaning how it will affect the tall buildings, how it will affect our vegetation, water drainage, traffic flow, many studies that need to be done. The reason I bring up water drainage, 95 Madison has an easement directly onto our property, and it follows the building. It's something we are worried about, and we should be. Number 3, who has the hospital been speaking with? Is it the town planner, the town engineer, the town attorney? We don't know anything. How can these meetings take place without representation from the public or from a representative? Yes, I know that there we'll be told there's time for public input, but that time will be too late. Plans will already be in place. Morristown is a unique place. It's a walkable city. It's a city with green spaces and a sky you can see and enjoy. It's so unusual. People buy homes here because of its character. I took a ride today along Madison Avenue, and I saw buildings that weren't too tall and lots of green areas. I saw the sky. Yes, it was gray, but I could see it. All of you are on the town board because you care about Morristown. I'm on my Parsons Village board because I care too. Being on the board is a lot of work, as you all know. We do it to preserve our home. Move forward, yes. Progress is necessary. Progress happens. But let's do it with thought, with care, with foresight. Please, please don't let the hospital dazzle you with their vision, a vision of tall buildings and concrete. Buildings don't always have to be tall. They don't have to be huge. They don't have to be on top of one another. Please remember to save the charm of Morristown. The last thing, which I just handwrote now, we want to be good neighbors. That's why we're organic. Recently, we got a call from Morristown about an issue. Somebody called us. I called the next day. The property manager called the next day. We talked to him. We said, we'll do whatever it is you need. Whatever it is, we're there for you. That's the kind of place we are. We're a place that want to be good neighbors. So please answer my 4 questions. I have the questions here. I also brought a couple of photos, which it's not enough for all of you, but you can just look, to show you how close it is. You'll see when you get closer, this is us. This is Building 11. That is 95 Madison. You'll see it closer when I give you those. This is a picture taken the parking lot of 95 Madison. Look how close the building is and the grass, right there.
Ms. Gabriel, your 5 minutes are up, so if you
Oh,
could please
okay,
just...
well,
Thank
I'm
you.
done. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. Can I hand you the pictures and the questions?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go ahead, you can come on up, thanks.
In the front, right? One in the front.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do all that side.
I'm just It's part of the packet.
Good evening. My name is Wendy Supron. Thank you for letting me speak. I'm the chair of the Morristown Festival of Books.
Wait a minute, are we doing the presentation?
You actually have a
Have a slot?
Yes.
Oh my God,
Presentation.
I am so excited.
That's what I...
Thank you, then. In the back?
Hi, my name is Bridget Moore Martorelli, and I'm a longtime
Please
resident of...
spell your last name?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's Martorelli.
Thank you.
Should be used to that.
And your address?
320 South Street, Morristown.
You're fine.
Okay. Hi, I'm a longtime resident of Morristown. I grew up in this town. I went to school in this town. And I live in Parsons Village. Very, very concerned about this proposed expansion for Atlantic Health Systems. I'm concerned, first of all, about traffic, noise, construction. And I'm also concerned that we haven't had any representation. I think that that's it's a really important thing to point out. I only found out about this proposed expansion yesterday when the Morristown Green printed an article on it, and it's very disconcerting to me. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jen, did you?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Waring. I'm the Executive Director of the Morristown Partnership. Thanks very much to the Council for approving in the consent agenda item number 3 for the Morristown Festival on the Green Filming Permit Waiver. We think that will be a great opportunity to promote downtown Morristown through channels such as PBS and Amazon Prime. The travel show Travels with Darley is a well-renowned program, and we look forward to be a part of it. I am here this evening on behalf of our board and dedicated team to attentively listen to your comments and deliberations regarding agenda item number 2 under unfinished old business. For the record and in summary, Morristown Partnership's primary objective is to achieve a fair and consistent inclusion of commercial properties within the current geographic boundaries of the Special Improvement District established in 1994. Tonight marks the first formal opportunity for us to receive feedback from the Council since we have presented our proposed amendments earlier this spring. It is important to note that we have made both formal and informal attempts to communicate with your offices on numerous occasions after distributing the proposed language, but we have not received any response to date. Our current revenue from the assessment is approximately $600,000. Other than a brief increase after the last reevaluation, our revenue has remained flat. A significant contributor stems from alterations in the block and lot numbers within the town's tax maps, removing properties from our tax rolls. These changes often occur due to redevelopment projects, and as a result, some of these properties have not been subjected to the SID assessment for many years. This emphasizes the critical need to update the ordinance's Schedule A, which we would like to do regularly, going forward in conjunction with the municipality. We evaluated the locations and property classes of our existing membership to revise the ordinance language, aligning it with the present makeup of the Morristown Commercial District and the active SID member properties who contribute via the assessment. To clarify, we are not looking to expand the SID, but make it fair for all commercial properties within the geographic boundary. In order to implement this project, we need your assistance as legislators. Additional cooperation will also be required from our partners in the administration, assessor's office, tax collection departments, among others. Going forward, we respectfully request formal correspondence and mutual communication to bring to our board for appropriate deliberation, at which time we will be able to provide further details and presentations with adequate notice. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to working together to achieve this goal and the future goals of the organization. If permitted by council, I also have comments from our board president who is unable to be here this evening. Would you permit me to read those into record with an additional 5 minutes?
No, we're not allowed to do that.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Sure. We're just going that side and then that side.
Hi, my name is Karen Rutger, and I'm the Director of Development at the Morristown Partnership, and I live in 14 Craig Road in Morris Township. I'm going to pick up where Jen left off and read on behalf of our Board President, Bill Braunschweiger, who could not attend this evening. Dear council members, I'm sorry I couldn't attend personally as I'm out of state. I'm writing on behalf of the Morristown Partnership. In the interest of fairness, our organization is seeking to add to our membership the commercial properties within the existing SID formed in 1994 that are not currently paying the assessment. There is no expansion, as has been incorrectly suggested, rather an overdue updating of our membership within the existing SID, primarily due to the development and changes in land use. Of note, an assessment of 0.105%, a 10.5%, was established, as well as a specific geographic area representing the downtown in 1994, and that amount, percentage, nor the area included has changed since that time. That means that the tremendous growth, development, and change of block and lot numbers since 1994 have resulted in many commercial properties not paying the SID assessment as is required. By way of example, the high value and transformative Epstein's project, 40 Park and Metropolitan buildings, have not paid the assessment since it was built more than 15 years ago, and the same goes for many additional properties. It is unacceptable and unfair for property owners such as myself to have dutifully paid the assessment while so many other businesses are benefiting from the work of the SID without any contribution. In 1995, the Morristown Partnership was created by longtime and established Morristown business owners, including Bill Levine of Epstein's, Glenn Kautz, Mike Godby, Phil Del Giudice, Herb Braunschweiger, Desi Lloyd, Jimmy Monge, Roland Rios, Alan Kopelson, Jack McDonald. At a time when regional malls and big box stores created an exodus from downtowns, these people chose to remain in Morristown and create the SID to assist not only their own businesses, but all businesses, and revitalize the downtown. As a long-standing board member of the Morristown Partnership, I can unequivocally say that the organization has significantly contributed to the revitalization of the downtown, not to mention establish itself as one, if not the most successful SID in New Jersey. Assessment dollars, in addition to the substantial fundraising revenue raised by the organization, are used for the express benefit of the downtown. This is done in a wide range of ways, including annual events, a Shop Local gift certificate program, and millions of dollars in streetscape improvements, to name just a few. We are particularly proud that during the 2020 pandemic, our organization raised over $700,000 to help small business owners pay their rent and keep their businesses open. It's heartwarming to know that we are part of a town that has so many kind and generous people. None of this happens with the Chamber of Commerce. Ask anyone who has served on or is currently on the Morristown Partnership Board. Going forward, the Morristown Partnership Board implores the Town Council to revise the SID ordinance as soon as possible so that all property owners are paying their fair share. Lastly, as a 20-year member of the Morristown Partnerships Board, I'd love to see more communication with the Town Council. As an example, the Town Council passed an ordinance in June blocking commercial businesses from the Lake Road facility without any prior input to the language from the Morristown Partnership, which represents them. Our current executive director has an incredible amount of knowledge and connections to the business community, and her goal and the goal of the Morristown Partnership Board is to create a welcoming, sustainable, and vibrant downtown. The Town Council is voted in by and represents town residents. The Morristown Partnership Board is voted in by business and property owners who don't otherwise have a vote in town, and it is in the best interest of all of us that love Morristown to have open communication and work together to help Morristown achieve its full potential as a premier community in which to live, work, play, shop, and do business, which is the mission of the Morristown Partnership. In closing, my family has lived and had a business in town since the 1950s, me specifically since the 1970s. We've had and have businesses in other towns that have chambers of commerce and business associations. None of those organizations has had the impact that the Morristown Partnership does. Thank you for listening and volunteering your time to service. Bill Braunschweiger, President of the Morristown Partnership. Thank you.
Sir?
Good evening. My name is Christopher Garibian. I'm a Morristown resident since I graduated law school in 1997, and I stand before the council to ask to be appointed as one of the commissioners for the Morristown Parking Authority Commission. I had the honor of serving the town as commissioner for the Morristown Parking Authority from 1997 to 1999, and then again in 2009 to 2013, proudly with my name on that beautiful bronze plaque in the Dalton and the DeHart Street garage. I submit my application now again a third time because there were some professional conflicts that made me resign. Nothing bad, nothing at all bad. I have no professional conflicts. I'm still in town. I'm going to be in town, God willing, for many, many years, and I want to help. And I think that my experience and maturity, for lack of a better word, and just life as I have been able to enjoy myself in this town, I see the town as it has developed. I could see it into the future, and I think I bring a very interesting perspective to the spot as commissioner. I ask for the vote, and I give my promise simultaneously to serve the town as I did before. I would welcome any questions or anything by the council members at this time, and if not, I respectfully thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leslie Allen. My address is 320 South Street, and I come to you twofold. One, as a realtor from Weston Residential, understanding the many times that I've sold properties within Parsons Village to understand the impact that what the redevelopment will have. And to give you guys perspective, about 50% of the units within Parsons Village are very close to the property line for the Atlantic, for what's being proposed. And to give you perspective, if you just look back to that wall there, that's how far our privacy fence is from many people's bedrooms, whether they're on the first floor or the second floor. And yes, when you purchase, you know there's a parking lot on the other side of that wall, but you know there are 3 lanes of parking before you get to a building, so your light is not impeded. And from a real estate perspective, if I look at how the hospital has treated their parking structures, like the one on Randolph, that if I'm in my backyard of a home in Randolph, I can just stick my hand through the fence pretty much and touch a parked car, because that parking structure was built 0 lot line. So I know that the hospital has asked for a blanket zoning variance so they don't have to keep coming back and forth and back and forth. So my question is, what will be the setback from the Parsons Village property line for a parking structure or for a building? Because we've seen what happens on Randolph, which not only obscures light, it also feels as though it encroaches. And like many others, we haven't gotten any information until the last few days and feel a little bit frustrated that our representative is not able to keep us updated on what's going on. So it would be helpful for me to understand what exactly is a blanket zoning exemption or decision. What would that mean? Where would parking structures, where would trash go? Or does that now mean it would be pushed right up against our property line, meaning Parsons' property line? So Morristown is vibrant, it's growing. You used to be able to come out of the exit for Parsons Village with no problem. Now you almost need an appointment to get out, but that's because Morristown is growing. We just don't want it to be overrun and overwhelming. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Allen.
Hello, my name's Rita Morris, and I live in Parsons Village, 320 South Street. I've lived there for 30 years. And I just have one question. I understand that 2 council members have been recused from information and voting on whatever happens with Atlantic Health. My question is, what other issues are there to recuse someone? Does anyone have a connection with Atlantic Health? Do they have someone who works there or friends who work there or would like to work there? What is the reason for recusing someone who cares about their community? In fact, I think you're all here because you care about the community, but just living close to what's affected is someone who's recused, who really has a loving interest in working for all of us. I don't understand. So I would really like to hear what decisions were made and what other things maybe people should be recused for. They might have some money involved with something. I don't know. I just would like an explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morris.
Gentleman in the back on the right.
Please come on up.
Thank you.
Hidden behind your head.
There's a guy in the
Why don't
back
you just
as
stay,
well.
Michael Quattro, 164 Franklin Street. And can you just tell me when you start the timer?
I already have.
Oh, so I also had some questions about the council meeting with Atlantic Health. Where's the 6-story parking deck going to be built on the hospital property? Where's the 11-story building going to be built on the property? When the council, I was wondering if you could share more information with the public on what actually got discussed there, as people have mentioned, like traffic on both sides, like Franklin Street and 124. When they expand on the other side of Madison, are they going to add an additional lane to 124 so people can make left turns? Are they adding a traffic light? What does that thing look like? And as somebody else mentioned, the buffer zone. We've given away on 100 Madison over the last 30 years. We gave away the buffer zone, and now when they want to build another massive parking garage and an 11-story building, you can't buffer anything with 6 feet of dirt. Okay? So also light pollution. That's another big topic. You're going to build an 11-story building, those lights are going to be shining all night, every night. Same thing with the garage. As far as traffic goes, how many cars are we talking here? How many hundreds of additional cars on Madison and Franklin, the property in general? Can we also get the site for the law that governs the recusal of the council members and the case law that the town attorney referenced in the Morristown Green article? Because this part, I don't really understand. I don't understand why residents of the town are not entitled to a well-informed representative. I understand that Nathan may have to recuse because he's got the same problem I have. This project could significantly reduce our property values. I understand the conflict. What I don't understand is everything I've ever seen is people had conflicts, and that governed that they could not vote. It did not prevent them from, learning about the issue and being able to, share concerns, opinions with their constituents. So I don't understand this, because to me, this part of it doesn't pass the smell test for me. Like why people were excluded, and then, the article talks about how, well, we never had a quorum, we never voted, but it kind of looks like Atlantic Health, the mayor and some of the council members did have a vote, and hundreds of residents and the hospital's residential neighbors, yeah, we lost.
Thank you, Mr. Quattro.
I'm in the way back there.
Somebody in the back, come on up.
Hope you don't mind, I gotta read off the phone. Is that fine?
Sure.
Good evening, my name is Stephen Kent, I live at 175 Morris Street.
I'm sorry, what is your last name?
Kent, K-N-T.
Thank you. And your address, Morris Street?
175 Morris Street.
Thank you.
I want to point out a few roads that I feel are inadequate for providing for cyclist safety. The first one is MLK Ave. Currently, this road does not have any real accommodations for cyclists aside from painted bicycles that let us use the whole lane. On the southern section of the road near Spring Street, there are over 10 on-street parking spots despite the fact that nearby businesses have their own parking off-street. There are small shoulders on the northern end of the road that cars cannot use. It's signed that they can't use and it's too small. But there's no bollards or like a raised curb, so riding on those roads as a cyclist is not really an option. Oftentimes when I'm on MLK Ave, I just ride on the sidewalk, which doesn't feel good. It puts pedestrians in a dangerous and somewhat uncomfortable position. What's ironic is that the newly opened Morris Marketplace is only a 10-minute bike ride from the green, but it's a 35-minute drive. So if you can bridge that gap by getting more people on two wheels, then I think you'll give more people access to more grocery stores, shops, restaurants that are cheaper. I also want to speak about Speedwell Avenue. Notably, the section of Speedwell between the Green and Spring Street feels like a case of just kind of doing the bare minimum and not really accomplishing anything. While it's nice to have a painted bike lane rather than forcing me to use the whole vehicle lane, the bike lane runs for an incredibly short distance and dumps cyclists into motor vehicle traffic. The lane is also positioned in the door zone of parked vehicles, and from what I can gather, a lot of vehicles just park directly in the bike lane with impunity, especially vehicles that are going towards 1776. I've seen the valet staff just park vehicles in the bike lane. And that kind of stinks because we wouldn't really expect to do that with car lanes. We wouldn't build a motor vehicle lane and then just park bikes in the middle of it and obstruct it. And it's not fun to see that, because I feel a lot of people have negative feelings about cyclists, and when they see cars just parked in the bike lane, and nothing's being done, I feel like it just reinforces those feelings. On that note, I want the town council to think seriously about what they think safe bike infrastructure actually is, because right now it feels like the common treatment on many roads in town is to just paint bicycles on the road and tell us use the full lane. Unfortunately, that does not really work most of the time. When I use the full lane, I'm very often on the receiving end of honking, obscene hand gestures, yelling out the window, and people passing dangerously close. It really isn't fun for car drivers. It's not fun for me. It's just not safe or comfortable at all. If we build more comfortable and efficient infrastructure for Morristown residents, I think that'll ease up all the traffic. It'll make roads like the South Street, or it'll make areas like the Green more pleasurable to be around for everyone, because we won't be in front of them, in front of their cars. We'll have our own section, and Morristown residents will have more options to get around, because it's a really dense city. But if you want to go more than like a 10-minute walk away, you're probably just going to get in your car and drive there. And there's a lot of negative impacts to that. Lastly, I also want to speak about the changes to the bicycle regulations, especially the tagging and removal of abandoned bicycles. I feel that's a good thing, because bicycles, when they're abandoned, they leave a lot of clutter. It just makes the town look bad. But the regulations require that bicycles be parked to a fixed object suitable for bike parking and shall not be left in a way to impede pedestrians. In my experience, within many parts of town, the only things that I can reasonably lock my bike to is a parking meter or a road sign, which I feel both have the possibility of impeding pedestrians and are not really suitable for bike parking. I am curious if the town council has any plans to inventory the bike racks in Morristown and maybe add some where they're deficient. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Is there anybody else in chambers that want to speak?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Wynne McCarthy. I'm also a resident of Parsons Village at 320 South Street. A point of clarification, or 2 points. Isn't there a master plan for Morristown? And how is it got to be reconfigured, and how do you go about reconfiguring it to allow for this redevelopment? So it's a point of clarification. The second, is this the hospital pursuing this, or is the hospital a client of a particular developer? Could you give us that information? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in chambers?
I'm Ann O'Donnell, and I live at 9E Gerardo Drive, Morristown, which is part of Convent Muse Townhomes. I don't have the prepared remarks that a lot of people do, because I just found out about this from our board this afternoon. But it just raises so many questions. And also what I'm hearing, too, which makes me a little nervous, it sounds like there's a lack of communication, perhaps, between the council and the community. So I think there's just going to be a lot of information that's needed going forward for the residents, especially in those areas right near the hospital, like the hospital, 111, 95, all those buildings and their parking lots also abut Convent Muse, too. And, there's just the minor things like, nobody thought to put up a wall when they put up 111, so all the trash and stuff from people that go there from their cars, comes down, trickling down the hill into Convent Muse. So I just want to say, I think there are a lot of questions that we're going to need answers to, and this idea of this lack of communication between the council and the community makes me feel a little ill at ease. So thank you, and thank you for serving on the council, too.
Thank you. Anybody else? Gentlemen?
Hello, my name is Richard Gabriel. I'm a resident of Parsons Village also. I'd just like to reiterate some of the points that were made. The speaker before spoke about a lack of communication, but it almost seems as if it's an exclusion. I mean, not only has no information been provided, but our representative and another representative have apparently been excluded from meetings at which they could obtain information. I presume, or I've heard that the answer to why that was done is that there's some kind of conflict of interest. I've looked at the conflict of interest cases in New Jersey. I refer you to the case of Grabowski v. Town of Montclair. I don't think there's a conflict, but for two reasons at least. Number one is that those cases related to voting were only at an informational stage. There's no reason why somebody that's knowledgeable about the situation should be precluded from participating in meetings and informing their constituents about what's happening. And number two, in the Grabowski case, the court distinguished between somebody who was associated with the property owner and the property owner itself. And I know in the case of Council President Mayer, she's not a property owner technically. She's the Parsons Village is the owner, not Mrs. Mayer. And so that rationale doesn't support her exclusion. Even if there were grounds for an exclusion, it would seem to me that what the council should do, particularly in that kind of situation, is reach out even more aggressively to the community, let everybody know what's happening so that they could have some input and have a basis for commenting on the proposal and what needs to be done. So going forward, I just hope that whoever makes the decision would reconsider the exclusion of these two council members from meetings, and would make a greater effort to inform the community about exactly what the process is going to be, exactly what the proposals are, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel. Anybody else in chambers? Anybody on Zoom? No? We are going to close public comments now. Thank you. And we will go into council response. So, what? Oh, Are there any emails, Margot? What are we doing about emails read?
I was counseled not to read it alone.
Okay, I'm gonna have to deal with that one.
So just to put that to bed, is it the policy of the state that email correspondence is no longer allowed at public meetings?
Yes, thank you, Councilman. When we were under COVID regulations, there were specific state administrative code provisions which required that if you were to have a purely remote meeting, that you had to accept comments that were emailed to be read aloud by the clerk. Those regulations have since expired, and therefore we operate under the rules that we have always had, which is that you have to either appear via Zoom or appear in person to have your comments heard.
I appreciate it.
The problem with that is Margot has been reading a statement for the last year and a half saying, has any public comments been received by mail? No, it hasn't. Our website says that you may submit public comments to be read as long as they've been received 72 hours in advance, and yet we're not allowing that. So we have a real disconnect of rules that have changed since last Thursday.
Well, if this is the first time you've asked me for my opinion, which I gave you.
Right.
Whatever's been done or whatever process has been going on with council,
But
the
how do
clerk
we
is not.
reconcile that somebody sent in a letter based on the fact that our website says you may submit a letter, but now it's not going to be read?
It's something you could take up as you are the body which regulates the clerk's office. If you have concerns with that, you have the ability to remedy that, whether it be something on the website, something that goes on in the clerk's office. I am your legal counsel, and I'm providing you a legal opinion on what the law is with regard to statements.
And Council President, my apologies, there are two people with their hands raised. I was looking in the wrong window.
Just to close up that number.
Yep.
Sorry. Has the website been updated to reflect the current state of the law regarding emails?
I would have to check on that.
Okay, thank you.
David, could I comment on this, Andy? Please, Bob.
Sure.
Do we want to finish with public comments first?
That's.
Bob, can you just speak up a little bit? We can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, to counsel request that correspondence and emails be included in the package. I think when I first joined council, we used to get correspondence from the company. There was a section within our package, and we do not, anything that's being either mailed by post or emailed, we do not see that. And I think, I don't know, would it be better for us to actually, rather than changing the website, to actually see what people are sending in?
Councilman, that's an excellent idea. Certainly, any correspondence that comes in to one council member could be included in the packet by the clerk to all council members. That's a perfect solution.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Margo, for the next council meeting, can you include the correspondence that was received last Thursday from a resident of Parsons Village to our packet of information?
I absolutely can.
Thank you very much. We're going to reopen public comments due to some Zoom people that we didn't recognize.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Phone number ending in 240. If you could please unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record. Telephone number ending in 240, can you hear me?
Write a letter, but we're not
Okay.
doing it. Do you want to go to the second one?
I'm going.
I'm here.
Oh.
Sorry, this is Kevin McNally, Kevin McNally, 13 Franklin Place. Sorry, I cannot be at the meeting tonight. Middle of plan, bike ride from Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C. Thanks for the time. I actually also filled out an application for the open spot that the result of March has been away. A little bit about my background. I've lived in town for 7 years. I owned Franklin Place 3 years before we moved over. We lived in the township for 30 plus years. I've been very, very active in the town in some different capacities, all the way from Little League to Boy Scouts, town. Morristown. Was on the planning board alternate for about 9 years. Was very involved in the Hutwell application back, about 7 years, 8 years ago now. And the reason I'm
Thank you very much.
Mr. McNally, are you there?
That's Mr. McNally. Well, we did get your application.
I don't
All right.
know.
Mr. McNally, if you could hear us, please dial back in and we'll move on to the next person. Sorry. Margo's new to Zoom on this one.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Mr. Malostrovsky, if you could please unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record. Mr. Malostrovsky, are you there? Oh, I'm doing great. Joanne Corbo, can you please unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yes, I'm Joanne Corbo at 320 South Street, Parsons Village, and I would like to pretty much reiterate what my neighbors have said. We've been not informed of this. It's inappropriate that our representatives in the council cannot give us information. Again, voting is another issue and how that's handled, but we need information. And I just would like to say that I think we all very much appreciate the fact that Morristown Medical Center is the #1 hospital in the state. And I've been a patient there, and I appreciate their care and what they have done for me. But the fact that they took my life away, and now are going to take the quality of life away from me by building these huge buildings and destroying my quality of life is really unacceptable. And I think to give one corporate entity the entire carte blanche to do whatever they want by putting this kind of a no holds barred, whatever it's called, variance in is really unacceptable, especially without talking to the residents of this community. Morristown Medical Center serves this community and surrounding communities, and to not include the residents is really appalling in many respects. And then I would also like to add that I am a medical professional myself. I work at Robert Wood Johnson Medical Center in New Brunswick. And when I come home at night, after a long, hard day there, I breathe relief that I am home in Morristown, which, yes, is a mini city, but it's Morristown. It's all the things people have described, the quaint lifestyle, the historic, situation, everything. And if you were going to give Morristown Medical Center, a corporate entity, carte blanche, you are going to develop another New Brunswick, which is a nightmare. I don't want to live in a New Brunswick. And I think you need to consider the implications of that. So I want us all to be included. I want all residents in the surrounding areas, whether it's Parsons Village or Franklin Place, anyone around that Morristown Medical Center who's very happy to have Morristown Medical Center here. We need to be heard. We need to be heard. We need to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Corbo.
Okay.
Did we get Mr. McNally back, or?
No,
Okay,
we did not.
We do have his application. Okay, and we are going to close public comments again.
Mr. Malostrovsky is trying again. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you please unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record? Hello? Can you hear me? I
Okay. Sorry we're having technical difficulties with you. Close public comments for the third time. All right, moving on to council responses. Where to start?
Let me just start with the bicycle one. I appreciate all your comments about the condition of bicycle lanes and bicycle facilities in town. I encourage you to be more active. I spent the last 12 years getting what we've gotten, which is what we have. There is an effort to increase the number of bicycle parking in town. We got a commitment from the administration at the last meeting to add 15 or 20 new bike racks, predominantly on Speedwell Avenue. It's a short steps and a long slog. Primary challenge is county roads, state roads. We have no jurisdiction. The bike lane on 202 Speedwell Avenue took 10 years to design and implement. So, but I appreciate your input.
Okay, so moving on to the partnership. The partnership item is under, what do we have it under? Old unfinished business, so we will be answering all questions regarding the partnership and addressing that at that time. Please stick around. And circling back to the hospital. So just so everybody knows, obviously, I'm an excluded. Vice President of Council, Nathan Umbriak, is also excluded. There's no application. We want that on the record. The hospital has not put in any paperwork or an application. So I'm going off of what I know. I know that Mr. Mincello contacted me over the summer, as well as Mr. Umbriak, telling us that we could not participate due to living within 200 feet of the project. We've gathered from, I'm just going to say, other council members that the hospital is looking, we all know now, to expand. Again, there's no application. I agree with Ms. Corbo, who said it emphatically. The hospital should not get carte blanche to bypass zoning. If they want to improve their property, and nobody's against them improving their property, we all know expansion has to happen. It's the way they're going about it. It's the secrecy, it's the innuendo and gossip. Innuendo and gossip leads to dark thoughts, and everybody in this room that I represent, well, just about everybody, is having the same thought. What's going to happen? If the hospital had been forthcoming and brought it out there in the public and said, hey, we're going to be doing this, but we're going to ask for public input, it would have went so far in goodwill. They have chosen not to do that. Morristown Green posted an article yesterday. The hospital has not come out with any statement. I don't think there's anybody from the hospital here. So what's that say about respect for the people in the neighborhood? I know my residents, and I'm going to speak on behalf, even though Ms. Gabriel speaks on our behalf, I feel disrespected. I think you all feel disrespected. This is our home. These are our lives. This is where we live, and we're just getting trodden over. And to me, it's just unacceptable, and it's the way they're going about it. If they had just stood up and said, this is what we're planning, let's have public input, we all would have welcomed it. Now, I'm off of council on December 31st. It's my last day representing you. We have two people running for that seat. One's here and didn't speak up to tell us how he's going to help us out with this. Did not say a word. The other gentleman, I don't know him, but I don't think he's here. He didn't speak up. So we are on our own, it seems like. I'm going to fight like hell for you people. I told Mr. Mincello, he doesn't know me that well, but I think he's getting to realize, hell in heels. I will be hell in heels. I will be at every meeting that I'm allowed to go to. I might not be able to vote, but I will be at every meeting, and you can count on that, because this is ridiculous that we are being disrespected, and nobody is standing up for us, and I can't be at a meeting just to get the facts. Mr. Umbriak can't be at a meeting to just get the facts. He might have a 6-story parking garage in his backyard where his 4 little children play, and his next-door neighbor's 2 little children play, inhaling fumes day in and day out of car lights, car fumes, the noise. Mr. Quattro on Franklin was being kind. The thousands of cars that it's adding to. Ms. Gabriel brought up traffic. South Street, you're right, you need an appointment to get onto South Street. And all of the cars coming off of 287 North are going to come right past Parsons. It's getting to be impossible to get out. I leave my house at 7 o'clock in the morning to avoid traffic, and the line of cars to get to Morristown Hospital at 7 a.m. coming off of 287 southbound backs up in both lanes. I'm stuck on the little no-name road for a good 10 minutes every morning because the hospital does not have adequate, I guess, traffic study going on. So that's all it's going to be, is exasperated. We're really in a dark place right now, and it might not be a dark place if somebody had just given us the information, if they had just been forthcoming and included me and Mr. Umbriak in the discussion. Then we could be having an intelligent conversation. I could have went to all of you people and said, okay, take a deep breath. This might not happen. But we don't know that because, again, the hospital hasn't been forthcoming. And I'm asking the hospital, I'm putting it out there, be forthcoming. Have a public meeting. Meet with Parsons Village. Meet with Convent News. Meet with the Ward 1 people on Franklin Street, Randolph Street, all the streets in his neighborhood. They're moving the helipad. How's that going to affect the Green Hills people? That all needs to be brought out in the open so we all know what we're talking about. We all know that there's going to be change. We accept that. What's the change? And why would you give carte blanche for 15 or 20 years to an entity just so they could bypass the zoning process? Why? So it saves them time and money. I don't think it's necessary. And with that, I will ask if any of my fellow council members would like to have something to say. All right. We're moving on. Thank you. We're moving on to... Oh, I'm sorry, Bob, I forgot to call you out. I apologize, Bob.
Thank you, Sandy. The concerns are valid. People should be concerned, and we hear you. We understand what you're saying. But let's be very frank. It can't go anywhere. The hospital really can't go anywhere without talking with the before, and also talking with, in the stopgap really is the council. So the fact is that, we do expect that they will be having community meetings. I was one of the people that did meet with the hospital, and what they were proposing was, and I asked them, just a preliminary plan, and it was a preliminary plan. The fact is, just like you said, Sandy, this does require a lot of community input, and it does require specific meetings with the neighboring properties that will be impacted by the project. I think I can safely say that unless council actually sees thorough due diligence, a lot of discussion, responses that are generated by community meetings, that the application will move forward. So, we are the ones that set the expectations. So, we're the ones that are setting the expectations. And there should be other meetings with administration, there should be other meetings with planners, there should be meetings with traffic people, there should be meetings with the neighbors, there should be meetings with specific neighbors that are going to be impacted. And before anything is presented, it will be vetted. And then once it is presented, it does go through, my understanding, like any other council change of ordinance, it will go through a public hearing process that we will then deliberate and give an answer. And when we give that answer, that will also involve us talking with our constituents, understanding what our constituents' concerns are, weighing the facts of what is being presented, and making a decision. So this process has a long way to go before any decision is made. And our job as council, and I think this is what we're all saying, is to basically assure people that there is a process that allows all the voices to be heard.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, moving on to...
Can we ask for a clarification from our attorney? Based on, just a clarification for transparency for the public to understand why Sandy and I were excluded.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Councilman. Let me just back up a little bit and explain what happened here. it's been written and said tonight that somehow that I, as your town attorney,
Can you speak up or speak into the microphone?
oh, sure, I'll try to project, yes.
Can't hear any of you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'll do my best. Thank you. It's been said tonight that somehow that I, as your town attorney, removed two individuals, two council members from participating in the process. I have no such authority as your town attorney to remove any councilman, a council person. My job is when I am asked on a daily basis to provide legal advice. I do that for every council member has called me on an occasion for advice, as had members of the administration. In this specific instance, I was asked the question on whether or not a conflict existed based on the proximity to any potential project that would happen at the hospital. I opined on that issue. I provided my legal advice to the affected members. What those members do with that, whether they choose to follow that advice and adhere to the law or not, is their decision and how they proceed. So I just want to clarify that in no way was anyone told that they could not participate. I gave my advice, as I will always do, free from any political interference, free from whatever the outcome might be. My opinions are based on the case law that I have cited to the council as to a potential conflict. And that's really it. So if council members want to adhere to the law, as your duly appointed town attorney, that's your choice. I would not have given you the opinion if I did not believe in it, and I wouldn't recommend that you do it. But ultimately, the decision is that of the council to what degree they want to participate in any vote or any process as it unfolds. So I just want to clarify that point, that that I don't have that authority. I don't have the authority to tell anybody up here that they cannot participate. And no one has told you that. I've only recommended what I think you should do based on the law. That's it. Thank you.
Well, who excluded Nathan and I from being included in the meetings? Because we did not get calls where all the other council members met with the hospital. So whose decision was it to follow up on your recommendation that, because I didn't say you told us that you excluded us. I said you were the carrier, you were the messenger that called us and said that we couldn't participate based on case law.
Yes.
That's what you told us.
I recommended it, yes, absolutely.
Right, but we were never given the option to participate in any meeting, because you know damn well I would have been there, and I'm pretty sure Nathan would have been also. I'm not going to speak for
I think you
Nathan,
should speak for any council member other than yourself.
But,
yeah.
well, we had a discussion, we both wanted to be included, that's why I'm including him in the
Sure.
statement. I will not include him again, God bless you.
But my job is to...
We were excluded purposely.
But based on my legal opinion, which I provided, which was a recommendation so that we adhere to the law as we move through the process. It was not based on anyone's political position or how they feel about the project. It was based on the case law, as both myself and Redevelopment Council, as we read the case law, we believe that we have to advise you so that any project that could unfold is done legally. That's our job. That's it.
So we're allowed to participate in the meetings and the vote, is what you're saying, if we so
I wouldn't recommend it. I would not recommend it, but if you don't...
recommend it, but what happens is...
I can only advise you on my interpretation of the law. I feel like I do my best to give you dispassionate advice as to how to proceed. Whether you follow that advice, whether you follow the law, is up to you. Ultimately, that's up to you. But all we can do is just give you guidance. That's why I'm here, just to guide. And if you take it, great. If you don't, we'll see what happens. I mean, but that's really all I can do for you.
And what would you see would happen? What do you foresee happening?
Well, honestly, I would never, that was something that we could discuss in closed session, the impact of not following the law. And I'd happily advise the entire governing body on what that means. But I make decisions all day long, and I advise everybody as to the law, my interpretation of the law based on my experience and my expertise in this field. That's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say that when you had spoken to me, I'll let Mr. Umbriack speak for himself. When you spoke to me, I interpreted your words as saying I couldn't participate in the discussion or the vote, and I was excluded from the meetings. Obviously, there has been no vote. I have been excluded. I have not been contacted by anybody in the administration regarding this project to come and sit down and have a discussion. I want that on the record. So if I shouldn't have been excluded and deal with the repercussions later, I should have been included and given the opportunity at that time. I was excluded.
Well, I'm certain that the other members probably agreed with my opinion on the law as it pertains to any conflict for you and Mr. Umbriack. That's it, that Councilman Umbriack. I assume that they adhered, that they thought that the opinion had merit and wanted to follow it. That's what I can assume.
Okay. You good with that? All right. We're moving on to Mayor's proclamation. I have a proclamation for Dr. Torres. Thank you. And I will be reading this since Mr. Iannacone is not with us tonight. Mayor's out.
You and I have my colleague Dr. Reed as well, and the board members.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for sitting through this.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Go this way? All right, hi. So this is a proclamation. Whereas there are currently more than 100,000 osteopathic physicians and osteopathic medical students in the United States, and over 4,900 osteopathic physicians are licensed in New Jersey, and whereas DOs have made tremendous accomplishments to the American healthcare system since the profession was founded by Andrew Taylor Still, MD DO in 1874. And whereas DOs have treated United States presidents, Olympic athletes, contributed to the fight against AIDS and the fight for civil rights, and served on nationwide healthcare panels, and whereas DOs are fully licensed to prescribe medicine and practice in all specialty areas on medicine, including surgery, and whereas DOs are trained to consider the health for the whole person and use their hands to help diagnose and treat their patients, and whereas New Jersey's 4,900 osteopathic physicians are dedicated to improving the health of their communities through education and awareness-based efforts, as well as by delivering high-quality healthcare services, and whereas the town of Morristown, New Jersey recognizes the need for osteopathic physicians who are committed to bringing attention to improving the health of Americans regardless of age, income level, and ethnicity. Therefore, Timothy P. Doherty, the mayor of Morristown, proclaims the week of September 25th through September 30th, 2023 as Osteopathic Medicine Week in the town of Morristown.
Thank you so much.
Can you just explain a little bit about what you guys do and why this was brought to our attention and what happened this weekend?
Absolutely,
Thank you,
yes.
Chris, for running late.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So osteopathic medicine, as the president said, is something that has a long history. So 1874, it's been present for a long time, actually historically has a history in Morristown, recently came back. So here at the hospital, we have an osteopathic family medicine program, and we've been very active in the county. So we are hosting a conference, which is going to be happening in Morristown, and so we had asked kindly for the council to recognize that in accordance with how other state organizations have. And so we're very grateful, and we're grateful to call Morristown home. Our office is right up on South Street, both myself and my colleague, Dr. Lee, who runs our family medicine residency program. So thank you all. I know we may not be on your favorite list, but I knew nothing about it either. And, but thank you so very
You're
much.
welcome.
And
Thank you
we're
for
so
bringing it to our
happy.
attention.
Yes, thank you
Thanks.
so much.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on, is there a report of mayor and town officials?
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor, we can hear you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First, let me let everybody know that Mr. Foster was released today.
Yay.
And he is home and recovering at home, so please reach out and wish her well. It was a tough 5 weeks for her as she continues the recovery process. Quick announcement for Pastor Silva and Biblico. They're celebrating 21 years of serving the community. Celebrations that will be held in Dover and Morristown encourage the integration of the facade of the marquee of the theater between 29th and 30th, including the inauguration. I'm assuming the pastor, Councilman Silva, would like to say a couple of words on that.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yes, this weekend, starting on Thursday, we're celebrating 21 years of serving our community. From Morristown, we serve other communities like Dover, Kearney, and Long Branch. We're a multi-campus church. We have been doing a work of educating our people in many regards, spiritually first, and doing a great job with the entire church in helping our community. This Friday, we're going to have a special celebration at Dover as we are inaugurating the front facade and the marquee of a historic theater that the church acquired a few years ago. It's a big event because the theater is a landmark not only in Morris County but in the nation. We have ordered the fabrication of a marquee from a place in Ohio that does marquees for theaters in Broadway, Los Angeles, and many other places. And it's going to be a beautiful event, plus the other events that we will have here in Morristown. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councilman. Just for follow-up on Saturday, 15th of September, the clinic town hall. On Friday, 22nd, and our jazz festival kickoff on Davis Plaza. Thank you for all the attendance and the act. Unfortunately, we had to cancel Saturday because of weather. Hopefully, we'll figure all that out for next year's jazz festival. On the 23rd, we had a new grand opening of IT Table, the South Street, Street, South Street, on Sunday, the 24th, the Department of Public Safety and Morristown Police Department hosted Coffee with the Cops at Coastal Bakery on 59 Avenue. Thank you to the MPD. Mark your calendar, if you don't already know, I'm sure somebody on the council will inform you that October 1st and 5 is the Morristown Partnership Fall Festival, and working with the weather guys, that it's going to be a beautiful day for the partnership and great weather. On Thursday, October 5th, is the Riverside Fort Everett Young, the anti-aging clinic offering aesthetic and wellness treatments located at 40 Market Street, Suite 3D. That's Thursday, October 5th at 5:30. October 6th, mark your calendars, is an amazing event, amazing festival. October 6th, 7:30, the Festival of Books keynote event will be at MPAC. You can visit mayoarts.org for tickets. And then Saturday, October 7th, the Festival of Books main event, morristownbooks.org. For more information and the event lineup. Okay, thank you, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, and Madam Clerk, one other thing.
Sure.
And the council, this is the first time I'm actually, because I'm not in the state, I'm doing this on Zoom. It is very clear, and I could hear all the comments that were made, so it's coming across very, very clear.
Thank you.
Thank you. It might be the first time we've heard that. Okay, so moving on to the Festival of Books. Please come up. Deja vu? You just flip the microphone.
I got a plug from the mayor. Life is good.
Lottery ticket tonight.
Yeah. So my name is Wendy Supran, and I am the chair of the Morristown Festival of Books. And we're celebrating our 10th anniversary, bringing the community together in conversation. What started out as a pipe dream is now a major success story. And we and our venue partners, MPACT, St. Peter's Episcopal Church, Church of the Redeemer, Morristown, Morris Township Library, and the Presbyterian Parish House, provide 3 events over a 2-day period. October 6th, Friday night, as the mayor said, is the keynote at MPAC. And this is our only ticketed event, and it helps keep the remaining festival free and open to everyone. The keynote this year is the book Unscripted. It's written by 2 Pulitzer Prize winning authors, James B. Stewart and Rachel Abrams, and is moderated by Brian Stelter, formerly of CNN. Unscripted is the story of Sumner Redstone and his billion-dollar corporation, including Paramount Industries and CBS, and what happens when you don't have a succession plan. As a side note, when I was researching how we were going to write it up, the guy who created this miniseries Succession heard Sumner Redstone say, "I don't need a succession plan, I'm going to live forever." And how ironic that at 93, he was declared incapable of handling his business, and he did not have a succession plan. So, comes around, goes around. Anyway, Saturday, October 7th is the main festival where 50 authors will be speaking for an hour at 4 venues. The schedule is available in your packets and also on our website, morristownbooks.org. And we have something for everyone. We have fiction, historical fiction, memoirs, sports, nonfiction, poetry, and cookbooks. Some popular names include Jake Tapper from CNN, Meg Abbott, Fiona Davis, William Cohen, and Mary Calvi from CBS. We even have the winner of the British Bake Off show. And all this happens between 10 and 4. Have children? We have a Kid Fest, a festival within a festival just for children. 50 authors will be spending the day meeting and talking with the children. The schedule is also in your packet, and it's also online, morristownbooks.org. There are crafts, giveaways, balloon creations, airbrush tattoos, authors speaking. It's in 2 big tents on St. Peter's lawn. These 3 events together draw more than 5,000 people to South Street. And for many people, it's their first time coming to Morristown, as we draw from all over the state. So why am I here? To hear everything that went on before. But 2 main reasons. First, I want to continue to spread the word about this year's festival. We advertise in many ways: social media, paid ad, lawn signs, banners. Check the front of the town hall, it's all there. But word of mouth is another way. And I want this council to understand what we do and think of ways to help us as we are trying to help Morristown. Second, going forward, we'd like to have a better and more robust partnership with the town. How can we help each other market this event? We know we're helping the restaurants and the stores. Coffee places tell us Saturday is their best day of the year. Same for 23 South and Anjou. People complain to me that they can't get into restaurants because the lines are too long. And to that end, with the help of the Morristown Partnership, we distribute a list of restaurants so that people have ideas of where they can go. We are a 100% volunteer organization, and we have 30 people who work throughout the year, and we recruit another 100 people to work Saturday at the festival. But this event is surely not free. I have to fundraise over $300,000 for it. And going forward, it would be great to partner more closely with you guys to make sure that you're aware of the festival, and together it would help us with our fundraising and bringing more people into Morristown. We want this festival not to last another 10 years. We want it to go forward forever. And I hope that going forward, the mayor's office, the partnership, the parking authority, the police department, we could all work together as a team. Because right now, I can't get the police department to respond to the mayor's office or to me. So there you go. Anyway, thank you for your time. And in the spirit of the partnership, I'd like to offer all you guys 2 tickets to the keynote. And if you're interested, that'd be fantastic. And maybe Margot can make a list, and we'll have tickets for you at the box office. So, thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Okay, moving on to the Morristown Airport report.
What?
Good evening. I apologize, we had a little bit of a technical issue before, so I had a couple slides. I will make sure that Margot gets those and we get them to you.
Okay.
My name is Darren. I'm the Director of Facilities and Operations at Morristown Airport, and we're here today at the request of the Town Council to address 2 specific concerns brought up by Council President Mayer. The first being the latest phase of the airport's Runway 523 rehabilitation project, and the second being an environmental assessment for pending redevelopment. So I'll start with the first issue, Morristown Airport's Runway 523 rehab project. As everybody should be aware, we're currently in our 5th phase of the construction within the airport's overall Runway 523 rehabilitation project, and this project has been in motion since 2011. The most recent phase involved the replacement of an existing 36-inch culvert with a 72-inch box culvert. This work that was associated with the installation of the box culvert required the closure of runway 523 for 27 days from July 12th until August 7th. And that was due to the fact that the culvert ran beneath the main runway. The closure of the airport's runway, the primary runway, runway 523, led to a 100% shift in aircraft traffic to our shorter crosswind runway, runway 1331. While the vast majority of our based aircraft relocated to other airports, aircraft that could utilize runway 1331 for various flight missions did so. This shift in operations created an impact on the communities adjacent to runway 1331, which created a concern of additional traffic at Morristown Airport. And I had a map showing the different flight routes out of the airport. So year-to-date, overall traffic at Morristown Airport is actually down 6% compared to 2022. However, there has been an increase in flight training activity at the airport and nationwide post-pandemic. This increase is attributed to the pilot shortage. I personally flew last week and was delayed twice because of crew issues, so I'm sure we're all going to be facing that at some point. And this pilot shortage is being experienced by the airlines. In the short term, there's an expectation that these types of operations will remain high. However, these flight operations should start to slow as more pilots are brought into the industry. The Runway 523 rehabilitation project is projected to run through 2029 as a multi-phase, primarily federally funded project focusing on standardizing the Runway 523 infrastructure components, including our runway safety areas, our lighting, pilot guidance systems, and pavement. There's going to be similar temporary traffic pattern changes depending upon the phase of the work in the coming years as the project continues. As the potential impacts and phase details become available, we will continue to communicate through the airport's website, social media channels, and other engagement points. We're committed to finding avenues to improve these communications and taking whatever actions we can to minimize the number, duration, and nature of these impacts. When Runway 523 was reopened during this last phase of construction and the normal flight patterns resumed, we saw a return to traditional levels of engagement with the community as it relates to noise. As it relates to the second item, while we were doing the construction work, DM, along with our existing aircraft service provider, Atlantic Aviation, were working to finalize the FAA's environmental assessment for the redevelopment of the western area of the airport. The western area of the airport was constructed in the late 1940s, and over the course of its history, it's been reconfigured and modified based upon the changing needs of the industry and the changing aircraft. Atlantic Aviation, as well as the previous tenants, have been providing aircraft services for over 23 years in the airport's western area. The proposed work involves the redevelopment of the existing transient aircraft apron, based aircraft tie-down area, the replacement of the existing terminal, and the construction of 2 aircraft hangars. This work will allow Atlantic Aviation to accommodate airport users more efficiently in the western area and potentially convert transient operators to based operators at Morristown Airport. Acquiring those based operators has a positive impact on the airport, community, and the local economy. While we do anticipate these new operations out of the redeveloped Atlantic facility, while we do anticipate some new operations out of that redeveloped Atlantic facility, we're optimistic that these new operators will have longer-standing, deeper commitments to the community by making Morristown Airport their home. So with that, that's my presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming out because I don't know about you guys. When you divert traffic, I get a lot of emails and text messages and social media posts. So if there's a way that you could get your people to notify the local communities, either the administrations, so they could get it out on their social media, so people repost, because everybody's thinking that there's more traffic when it's just you diverting it to different runways. And I'll ask you one other thing. Please remember to ask your subcontractors not to make a left-hand turn off of Columbia Turnpike. I almost got run over last week at 3:15 in the afternoon because a guy just cut across the road. So it's really dangerous, and I know you have a lot of subcontractors out there. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you coming out because I know, the more information you give out, the better it is for everybody. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to council liaison reports. Bob Iannicone, do you want to do a housing report real briefly?
Well, there is no housing report. Because of the Yom Kippur last Monday, the Morristown Housing Authority is meeting this coming Monday, 6 o'clock, and as a reminder, the meeting is on the 4th floor of the municipal building or town hall.
Thank you.
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything either.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
All right, update from the Morristown Partnership. This past summer, the Morristown Partnership established a subcommittee as part of its strategic planning initiative. The subcommittee is currently implementing a board self-evaluation process, aligning with best practices in nonprofit corporate governance and conducting this evaluation using a comprehensive questionnaire. Last council meeting, Amanda Bowser, who was here representing Learning Express, noted that sidewalk sales would be beneficial to both customers and business owners. The Morristown Partnership Board is in favor of this concept and intends to explore models adopted by other municipalities in New Jersey. A subcommittee was formed with over 20 businesses already expressing their support. Two updates related to the festival this weekend. Look for Autumn in Morristown. I have some additional pamphlets that were handed out. Thank you, Jennifer, for these. They're really nice. Handed them out to everybody, all council members. It was featured in the Sunday, September 24th issue of the Star Ledger and online at nj.com. This annual publication highlights the festival, upcoming Greater Morristown community programming, and business interest stories. So as the mayor had mentioned in his report, the Festival on the Green is this Sunday, October 1st from 12 to 5, rain or shine. I believe it's supposed to be about 77 and sunny, so I'm looking forward to a beautiful afternoon. There will be over 180 exhibitors, 5 stages of music programming and entertainment, carnival games, kids' place, beer tent. So it's going to be a great day. The partnership is grateful for the participation and support of the town and all community partners, and is looking forward to a great weekend in Morristown.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We are going to move on to council appointments. Morgan?
Yes, okay, we have 2 appointments on the agenda. The first one is appointment to an unexpired term ending 1/31/2024 on the SMUCMA, the
Madam
Water
President.
Commission.
May I say something before we do the appointments?
Hold off for a second. Yes, would you like to say something?
Yes, I just want to state that for the first time that I see so many people interested in serving. We have many candidates and all qualified. I'm sure that only 2 will be nominated and given the positions. We don't want the other ones to be discouraged, but to continue applying for future positions in our boards, because our boards and commissions are very important for the well-being of our town.
And I would add, I was going to say it at the end, but I would add, if you don't get appointed to this, there are other boards that we hope that you will look into, because a lot of them are fluid, coming and go, people dropping off or leaving, so.
Yes, and yeah, I can add, in anticipation of the reorganization, all of the expiring positions will be published probably mid-October.
Okay.
So that will give people advance notice if you're looking to apply, get your application in, and we can get that process going.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to the
I don't know what.
SMCMUA.
Water Authority.
The Water
Water
Authority.
I don't know what that acronym stands for, sorry. I will open the floor for nominations to the unexpired term ending 1/31/2024.
I will nominate Mr. Arthur Clark.
Are there any other nominations? I will close the nominations. On the appointment of Mr. Clark to the Water Authority, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Abriac.
Yes.
Council President Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Clark is hereby appointed to the Water Authority for an unexpired term ending 1/31/24. Our second appointment this evening is for the Parking Authority. I will open the floor for nomination for a Parking Authority Commissioner to an unexpired term ending 12/31/26.
I will nominate Lucille Kapnick.
Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Michael Rogers.
Are there any others? Okay, I will close the nominations. Going in alphabetical order, on the nomination of Ms. Knappich to the Parking Authority, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
No.
Councilman Umbriak.
No.
Council President Mayer.
Yes.
On the nomination of Mr. Rogers to parking.
Yeah.
You already have four.
Oh, I'm sorry, we reached 4 votes.
That's it, yeah.
My apologies. With that, Ms. Knappich is hereby appointed to the Parking Authority to an unexpired term ending 12/31/26.
Again, thank you, everybody, for applying. We appreciate it, and please apply to
Future openings.
future openings, not just these boards, but other boards as well. Moving on to regular business. Woo-hoo.
Excuse me, okay. Excuse me, we have 2 ordinances for introduction this evening. First one is ordinance O-29-2023, an ordinance providing for certain capital improvements at the Morristown Municipal Airport by the town of Morristown and the county of Morris, state of New Jersey, and appropriating $150,224 therefore to finance part of the cost thereof.
I will make a motion to introduce ordinance O-29-2023.
I'll second.
Are there any comments and questions from council? On the introduction of ordinance O-29-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbriak.
Yes.
Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Ordinance O-29-2023 has been properly introduced by title and will be considered further after a public hearing on October 10th. Ordinance number O-30-2023, ordinance providing for certain capital improvements at the Morristown Municipal Airport by the town of Morristown and the county of Morris, state of New Jersey, and appropriating $7,432,181 therefore to finance part of the cost thereof.
I will make a motion to introduce ordinance O-30-2023.
I will second.
Any comments or questions from council?
Yes, Margo. Just a reminder, we are with the airport, and I'll follow up on the conversation with Jillian is out tonight, and the mayor, and hopefully we'll have a discussion on the matter at a future meeting.
Thank you. Okay, on the introduction of ordinance O-30-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbriak.
Yes.
And Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Ordinance 30-2023 has been introduced properly by title and will be considered further after a public hearing on October 10th. There are 3 ordinances for public hearing and adoption. Ordinance number O-26-2023, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 3 Police Regulations, specifically Section 3-8.3 of the Town of Morristown Municipal Code.
I will make a motion to adopt ordinance O-26-2023.
I'll second.
At this time, I'll open the floor for a public hearing on ordinance O-26-2023 only. Seeing none, any comments or questions? Councilman Armington.
Just a comment, I appreciate the administration's efforts to address abandoned bikes. It is a problem that has been at least prolific on my side of town for a while, so I appreciate that. To the commenter's point, the existing language about bike and parking bikes on bike racks and basically no other place. Basically, it's a process. We get groups of bike racks here and there. And so I'm not terribly happy, but I appreciate the forward momentum. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Okay, anything else? On the adoption of ordinance O-26-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak?
Yes.
And Council President Mayor?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. Ordinance O-27-2023, ordinance to amend Chapter 5 of the revised general ordinances of the town of Morristown entitled Animal Control.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-27-2023.
A second.
At this time, I'll open the floor for a public hearing on ordinance O-27-2023 only. Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from council? On the adoption of ordinance O-27-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Ianna Cone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak.
Yes.
Council President Mayor.
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. Ordinance O-28-2023, an ordinance to amend Chapter 5 of the revised general ordinances of the town of Morristown entitled Animal Control.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-28-2023.
I'll second.
This time, I'll open the floor for a public hearing on ordinance O-28-2023 only. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions? On the adoption of ordinance O-28-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Ianna Cone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak.
Yes.
And Council President Mayor.
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. There's only one resolution this evening, and that's Resolution R-132-2023, resolution requesting permission for the dedication by rider for Uniform Construction Code enforcement fees required by NJSA 48:4-39.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution R-132-2023.
I'll second.
On the adoption of Resolution 132-2023, Councilman Armington.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Ianna Cone.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak.
Yes.
Council President Mayor.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Thank you. We are moving on to old unfinished business, Morristown Partnership amended Schedule A and enabling legislation. Did you want to speak,
Yeah, I'll start.
Stefan?
To the partnership's point, this is not an expansion of the special improvement district. The special improvement district was created in 94, 95. Essentially, the entire town, excluding Ridgedale Avenue for some reason. But essentially, it includes all properties that are not single-family residential or multifamily less than 5 units, something to that effect. The fact that the list of properties has not changed in the last, since 1995, has been brought up and is an issue, and so I credit the partnerships board for updating the list. Essentially, what this does, it adds all the properties, the new lots and blocks that have been created, subdivided, et cetera, since 1995. So, for example, as you said, the Metropolitan does not pay into it. You know, their routes and such are probably one of the most benefited businesses from the festival on the green, and so this is the fair thing to do. The reason we have been sort of put off this vote is we were trying to get the administration to do a survey of the existing and new property owners, and basically the administration rightly was uncomfortable with doing a summertime survey, so they preferred to do one in the fall. That has not yet happened. I think that we'd like the administration to take another look at that and ideally send out notice. I don't think we need a formal public hearing, but just an opportunity for a public hearing as part of a council meeting to give all the new property owners who will be charged an additional assessment the opportunity to express their opinions. We did have a subcommittee on this item, and we did meet with the partnership, was it in the spring or July, June, July sometime. I don't think we have any new comments, but, I wanted to take this opportunity to express some of the comments that the council had shared at that meeting about the existing enabling legislation. I think principally the question about whether or not residential properties, rental units over 5 units should be included in the SID, and then whether or not there's a direct benefit to, businesses, for example, on Madison Avenue, law offices on Washington Street at the corner of town. The partnership has expressed that the broad improvement of the town requires a special improvement district that's the entire town, and I guess that's the reason why the special improvement district was created that way, as opposed to focusing on the central business district, which I think is sort of what normally you would expect a special improvement district to be. But that's the way our special improvement districts is set up. So we wanted to give the public who are being taxed essentially their taxes are increased by the special improvement, whatever it's called, this additional amount. So we wanted to give the public the opportunity to come to a meeting before we moved forward on this. So any other comments? There were some strong feelings from certain council members about the unfairness of some of the things, but again, we're hoping that the public will come out, and if they don't come out, then there's nothing wrong with it. So,
Right, which was the whole point of putting this on the agenda for a discussion was, I don't know who said that we were expanding Schedule A, because really Schedule A, which is the list of properties that gets taxed, is just, I want to say updated. It hasn't been updated in 28 years. I would hate it to be that another 28 years goes by and you start adding to it again. I think it needs to be done on a more consistent basis. But we met with the partnership, the subcommittee. I remember, I think Jen Waring said that she would be willing to put out the notice to the potential new taxed businesses. So I'd like to see that go moving forward, so they would come out and speak on it. We just want the dialogue, because I know I get a lot of feedback, informally, of what do I get for it. We had this discussion, and the partnership knows what they're doing, but somewhere there's a disconnect of people seeing it. Now, I don't know if it's your PR or you're being, sort of not shy about it, but we don't know what you do, and a lot of people don't know what you do, and you need to get that out there. And I suggested that your board become ambassadors and get the word out. And I think that's why you have a great board. You have great business owners on your board. If everybody starts talking about what's good about the partnership, it would help everybody so they'd understand what they're getting taxed on. There's a lot of new people, a lot of new businesses that are going to be added to this tax. They're going to want to know why. And the best way to do that is through your organization. And I think you have the means. You have great ideas. We see it with, the festivals. Working towards sidewalk sales is great also. But this was the start of the conversation. We want to see where it goes, because maybe there's other businesses that could help out and say, yeah, this is marvelous, so we know what we're getting for the money. I agree. I don't know that the residential portions of buildings should be taxed. But again, that's a discussion that we could have when it's introduced. And I thought we were going to get the introduction, but it didn't happen, so that's why I put it on the agenda as a discussion. So I'm glad everybody came out, and I see, your board is here, so that's fabulous. I don't know if
Yeah, I'll have a few comments. So certainly thank you to Jennifer and Cassidy and Karen for coming out. They all work for the partnership, the members of the board that came out. Thank you for staying for the length of the meeting. As council liaison to the partnership, I was welcomed with open arms. It's a great board. They're very involved in the community. I think it's a question about, or a discussion around fairness and equity, that everybody pays their share and they receive the same benefits. Certainly Jennifer and her team have a tremendous amount of things that they want to do. They're just not resourced to do. And in order to be resourced appropriately, they need to, be funded appropriately. And I think it's just it's a conversation around that, around fairness and equity. So thank you again for coming out. Anything that I can do as your council liaison to bring more messaging back, or anything I can do in the community, Jennifer, you know I'm willing to do that. So thank you.
And I'll just add that the reason you have a council member on your board is when you need a resolution or an ordinance changed that benefits the business community, he's your guy. He comes and he writes that, and he brings it to us, and he sells us on it. So if there's an issue, and I know we brought this up, and you said, we can't do that, it's, you have an ordinance against it, we're just talking about wrapping the electrical boxes and throwing some stuff out there, sidewalk sales. You bring it to your board member, and he brings it to us, and we discuss it, and it's a yay or a nay, and it's how much he sells us on it. So there's not an obstacle to getting things changed. It's just getting the mechanism working, and you got a really good liaison here, so he's more than capable of writing a resolution or change to an ordinance that would benefit our business owners. And that's all you have to do, is have the discussion with him. So.
That's Bob.
Oh, Bob, would you like to add something?
No, just actually a point of clarification.
I don't know, Bob.
If I'm reading this correctly, this is a amendment to an existing Schedule A. So what is the action that council will be asked to do? And is it a hearing on an ordinance or an introduction, then a public hearing is set? Or will this be a resolution submitting the amendment to Schedule A? Or is the partnership already entitled to the change under the current enabling ordinance where they're coming to us as a matter of courtesy?
Bob, let's let the town attorney weigh in.
This would be an ordinance change.
Yeah.
I think, Councilman, if I hear you're asking, you're talking about some sort of separate hearing, I think.
No, I think we're basically, we weren't looking for a separate hearing. We're basically, we want the public we want the affected people to come out and weigh in, whether it's part of the public hearing for them, or as part of the introduction where they say their 5 minutes or whatever. We just want to hear from the public.
Sure. We'll have 2 meetings and a public hearing to do that. Yeah.
David, what is it then, David? Do you know now? Do you want to wait and give us an information later?
I'm sorry, Council. Can you repeat your question? I couldn't hear you.
Yes, but what is it then? Is it, do you want to do it now, or do you want to wait and put it on the agenda based on the way what your opinion is? Because I think everybody, you want to get this moving.
Sure. I mean, well, it would have to be, it'd be an ordinance that would be, if it was ready for introduction.
So it's not, so what you're saying is that the change of Schedule A, even the change of the rider itself, will require a full ordinance?
Correct. That's correct, yes.
It's the reestablishment of the enabling legislation through an ordinance.
Yes.
And ideally, as I understand it, Margot, correct me if I'm wrong, there's one meeting in November, one meeting in December?
That's correct.
One-on-one, yeah.
The ordinance would have to be introduced in November at the latest. Ideally, if we could get this notice to go out in October, that would be helpful.
And what is the way to notify the people that are going to be affected by this?
Essentially, I defer to whatever regular notice requirements is, but essentially, it's you're being added to the special improvement district, and you will be assessed a tax, for the lack of a better word,
on your assessed value of your property.
and that contributes to the purposes of the special improvement district. And there's a meeting on October or November, or whatever, yada, yada, where you can express your
Will
opinions.
that be something from administration or from the partnership?
No, we would, well, I would say it would be the town would be responsible.
Yeah,
for that.
I'd
Yes,
prefer if
correct.
the town did it, just so we're doing our due diligence. And,
That doesn't preclude the partnership from sending out something if they want to do it on their own also.
Certainly, I think, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think what you counsel them is good, that as they give the notice, they should do PR, speak about all the good things that you're doing for the business community in Morristown, because we know that you're doing great things, but not everybody knows.
Right. Exactly. That's
a good point.
So, Nathan, maybe you can coordinate with Jillian and the administration next week, or whenever Jillian's back.
Sure.
See if we can get that moving in October.
Okay, great. Thank you, and I appreciate the partnership coming out. Obviously, we'll give you guys a chance to speak and give a presentation so we can get moving on this. And I will make a motion to adjourn this meeting at 9:21. Do I have it?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye. Opposed?
Good night, everybody. Thank you
Motion
so much for
adjourned.
coming out and sitting out with us.